How are you going to make 2024 your best year ever? By watching this video into its entirety so I can share with you how I'm able to accomplish my goals, such as monetizing my YouTube channel, launching a nonprofit, quitting my job to travel the world for a year. I want to break down the methods that I have used in the past and what I'm using currently to make sure that I knock my financial, physical, and travel goals out of the park in 2024, and you can too. Let's get to it. First thing you're going to need to do is grab a handy dandy planner, a 17 to 18 month planner to be exact. So you need to head to your local TJ Maxx, Homegoods, or Mashalls to grab one of these planners. Now, this video is not sponsored, but I love these planners that are in the stores because they're low cost. I paid $9 for this. And I suggest getting a 17 to 18 month calendar so you can start being intentional about your time and goals now in 2023, and you can see the progress next year. That is the first thing you need to do. Grab a 17 to 18 month planner. It doesn't need to be anything over the top if you don't want to go to those stores. If you're like, I want to just order one online, I suggest that you get a planner where you can have the tabs showing like this. You can see the months and the year. Hopefully this is showing up. Clearly it is. And I have some examples already written down in here so you can see how I am going to break down goals in a moment. One thing I have to point out is I'm actually not a person that uses a planner year round. I use a planner 5 months, maybe 6 months out of the year. 3 months being the last quarter. Like this, I'll be diligent and focus on my time October to January, and then I'll pick it back up later in the year. This is why I love these types of planners. Now, I focus on setting quarterly goals. Quarterly goals broken down into monthly goals. So if you're not familiar with what a quarter is, really simple. 4 quarters in a year. January through March is Q1. April through June, Q2, so on, so forth. What are 3 things that you want to accomplish in 2024? If you're like most people, it will have something to do with fitness and or finances. Whatever those 3 things are, you are going to bring them into your October planner. For each goal that you have for 2024, you are going to make sure that you do at least 2 things a week for each one of the 3 goals. For example, let's say that I have goals of losing weight next year, earning more money from YouTube, and moving out the US. For me to move out the US, I need to know how much money to plan to do it. So I need to have an annual budget. These are some actual goals of mine, but a little bit modified for YouTube. I'm not gonna get too detailed, tell you all my business. So for October, I have my 3 goals listed related to what I just told you. Weight loss, my budget for the year, and earning more money on YouTube. Now, there's more than 3 lines here, but to ensure that you hit your goals for 2024, you have to pick 3. Focusing on 3 is key. When you have more than that, you tend to crash and burn. For most people that I've talked to, friends of mine, you become over dreamers. You're like, I'm gonna do all this. You get motivated, you crash and burn. So focus on 3. From those 3, you're going to add to your to-do list over here. You're going to make sure that you have at least 2 items associated with your 3 main goals. So I have lose 6 pounds, complete annual budget, earn money from YouTube listed for October. Also forgot to point out there's a birthday and anniversary section here. That's cool, just so you can know that, hey, if I have a lot of birthdays this month, I may need to make my to-dos for my goals like low-hanging fruit that won't take that much time. So, losing 6 pounds. I know from my current plan that I have, I need to work out minimum 3 days a week in the gym. I already track my food, but I added a thing on here. Iron out my protein plan. So I'm going to have to be intentional about setting time aside for that in the week. So I have it from my to-dos, and I'm going to show you what my weekly looks like. So at a glance, you can see there's something written down for 5 days to accomplish this. You want to make sure that what you set your 2 things for each goal are feasible. It's okay if you have to move the goals, some of the things to the next week. But if you know, you're like, for example, I know that going to the gym is 45 to 60 minutes a day for me. So when I have my workout days, I tend to make my other to-dos a little bit lighter. So let's go on Tuesday for me. My goal is to do leg day at the gym. And my number 2 I have listed is to confirm 2 things for me to be able to complete my annual budget. Now, I actually do an annual budget because I am a nerd. I am a CPA. I love spreadsheets. It gives me comfort. And if you want to take a course on how to do an annual budget, I have that link below. But I know that this week I'm going to be working out and focusing on, I'm going to work out every week, but I'm going to be taking time to focus in on my protein plan. So that's probably going to take me an hour of time that I'm not going to have to do anything else. So I'm going to do that on my weigh-in day. I weigh in every Friday, which is actually true for me. So arm and core day, usually when I do arm and core, I'm not as exhausted from doing leg day. So I have research YouTube video topics for SEO. Making sure I'm making videos for the algorithm. So my point is, from those 3 goals that I have listed for 2024, lose weight, earn more money from YouTube, and move outside the US, I think I just maybe said move. For me to move, I have to do the annual budget. So let's just say annual budget. Annual budget for the sense of Q3. I need to dedicate time to those. Now, when you are doing this, you're going to be like, life happens, I may have to move stuff around, and that's fine. But right now, for me, in actuality, my number 1 goal is my fitness. So if I'm crunched for time, I'm not moving my workouts away from the week. I may have to switch a day, but I'm not getting rid of it, right? And this is what it means to be intentional about your time. That means you might say no to people to make sure you're hitting your personal goals. Now, it may sound like setting aside time to do 2 things for each of my goals, that's not a lot. But each thing could add, each thing could take more time than the other. So on Tuesday, confirming with 2 of my friends the dates for their birthdays or wedding, that's going to be quick check the box type of thing. But the follow-up to that for the following week is to price out the flights and hotels I would need for myself to go. You see how I'm already like forward thinking about this? But I'm making sure I'm also doing YouTube. I'm making sure I'm also like focusing on my weight loss. And so one thing that I want to point out is there is some goal calendars that zero in where you can break it down to focus in on goals. But what I do manually, and what I'm going to show you again, is on your 1, 2, 3, I list those in priority for me. And then on the to-dos, I 1, 2, 3. And I bring those over. And I bring those over into the weekly to make sure I'm not missing anything. That's just high level, guys, on how I make sure I am hitting my goals. I actually did follow this method to be able to quit my job and move outside the US. Now, in general, for me, weekends I have more time. That's the case for a lot of people. So Saturdays are going to be my YouTube days where I actually record and record my videos and edit. So I know that's going to take up a big chunk of my time. So if I go to, I'm probably not going to be able to go to the gym. So I may do a YouTube video workout. But for my goals, I'm so specific for my weight loss. I have to do 3 days in the gym. So if I want to be like, ooh, I'm going to go out Saturday, I may want to do a little cardio at home before, I'll add that to my to-do. But I can't physically go to the gym because I have to record for YouTube. So my thing is, once you get into the habit of planning your day and your time and your to-dos, it will become a little... What if you have goals that you don't even know where to start? That's cool. I just made it look so simple in this planner. Make the 3 goals. Make sure you allocate time to do 2 things for each goal every week. But what if you don't even know where to start with a goal? What I recommend is that you dedicate time to research where to get started in your planner. That's dedicating one of the 2 things to get to your goal. So for example, let's say you're like, I want to learn how to invest more. I don't know where to start. So you can say, you know what? Sundays I don't really do a whole lot. I'm pretty much chill. I go to work or church and I come back and relax. You will put on Sunday, dedicate 30 minutes into researching investments. That could be whether watching a YouTube video, finding a free course online to take through Fidelity. Fidelity offers free investing courses, or Vanguard. You can look into dedicating time to research how to formulate your to-dos, right? That's how you would get started. If you want to buy a house, same thing. Where can I find first-time home buyers classes for free in my area? You would dedicate 30 minutes to doing this. So when you don't know where to start, you will have to allocate a specific amount of time to do the research to generate your to-dos. Let me know if you have any questions about that in the comments. Calibrating your goals. This means, when do you set this time aside each week to make your time more intentional? Because remember, you're doing 2 things per goal every week. On Sundays, I sit down and figure out what my 2 things are going to be. And I write them down. And also when you do it by week, you can say, okay, well, I have plans. I have dinner plans. Oh, I have this going on. Oh, I'm losing a lot of time in my week. Something may fall off. This is where it's important to know your number 1. If you know you have something going on or life may happen, you're like, okay, my number 1, I may not have done 2 and 3, like focus on my number 2 and 3 goals, but you know what? I hit everything for my number 1, right? And then the next week you'll recalibrate and you may say, okay, I need to dedicate more time to 2 and 3 goals versus number 1. That's how I go in between my goals and make sure that I am not losing sight when life happens. Reflecting on this rigid schedule. Now, I said that I only do this for 5 to 6 months out of the year using my planner. When I pull this planner out, it means game time. So really for 5 months out of the year, I'm really rigid about this, meaning that I'm saying no to a lot more things because I'm being intentional about making sure I'm hitting my 2 things per every goal. Sometimes the 1 thing for a goal can be 2 to 3 hours, right? So that's what I mean about I don't use this planner the whole year because I kind of set myself up for a relaxing summer because I love the summer. I also wanted to point out that you will have times where life happens and you can't dedicate to all 3 goals. And that's why it's important to prioritize what's your number 1, what's your number 2, what's your number 3, because you want to make sure you are giving all the time you can to that number 1 goal. Also, I was a part of an accountability group earlier this year, and a friend of mine and I were talking. It was just 3 of us in the group, and I suggested it so she can get more intentional about her time. And I'm like, let's have calls every other Sunday because that's when I'm like getting serious about my week. And let's just say, I can't remember what it was. Let's just say I said I wanted to cook more when I was talking to her in passing. So on Sunday, she was like, why are you not making it a priority for the week? I'm like, because it's not a part of my top 3. So when I tell y'all I don't add anything new because I'm so focused on my top 3. I don't just like, oh, this is shiny, I want to try this new thing. No, I'm focusing on my top 3, right? So not saying that something else may not be like come to mind. I'm like, oh, I want to do that eventually. But is this more important than focusing on my 2 things per goal? Probably not. So for me, it's not just about writing things down. It's about getting comfortable with focusing on what's most important and letting your no be no. So for you to go to the gym, for you to eat healthier, for you to focus on your finances, that's going to require you to take more personal time for yourself, meaning that you're going to have to tell people no. So I am curious to know, what do you think about my planning process? Do you think this is something that you can apply to your life? Let me know, and be sure to watch the next video on screen if you want to get your finances together. Until next time, bye.